Hello again, everybody. This is Steve coming to you with my May 2024 channel and writing updates. Normally it's just a writing update. This time I'm covering things with my YouTube and Rumble channels as well, so that you guys, know about that stuff because those are related to my writing. So I'm including those now in the updates. So, anyways, let me go ahead and get started with this, so I don't take up too much of you guys' time. First item. Progress report on getting back into print. It's happening. I'll put it that way. If you want more details, you can go up on my blog. Basically, there's been a couple of little showstoppers. They're not like stoppers, like I'm dead in the water. It's one of those things that is just adding a little extra work I have to do to get into print. So as soon as my friend Don gets everything sorted out, because he's got to do some page count adjustments and cover adjustments and stuff. It's the long and short of it is Ingram has a problem with doing pre-made covers. When I say pre-made, in other words, it has the ISBN on it already, and it's print ready is the term I'm looking for. They don't like print ready covers for some reason. But if we run the cover without the ISBN block on it, they seem okay with that. I don't know what the whole deal is with that, but that's kind of the long and short of it. And that's part of what's holding things up. I'm working on getting that resolved, but again, that's down the road. How long? I don't know, but it's like I said, I'm working on it. Item 2, Jenna's Journey. That was the first one I put out there at Drafted Digital. And that was kind of my guinea pig and sacrificial lamb, if you will. That if any book was to get really screwed up trying to figure out how this thing worked, it would have been that one. Which is ironic because that one everything went perfectly with, and the other ones I hit a brick wall with. Thankfully, I got a bulldozer to pull through that or push through that brick wall. But anyhow, there is one change I'm going to make to that, which I was not aware of the first time I did this. So that will get adjusted, and it's a small thing. It's basically what it is the page. You're supposed to start your chapters on the right page, on the right side every single time. So, in the case of when I put it up there, I did not know that option existed, to force it onto the right side. I just took it the way it came, figuring, oh well, if I can't do it that way, then no biggie, because the other ones will already have pre-laid out or pre-done layouts, which I didn't have at that time for Jenna. They would, and I was kind of experimenting just to see how well Drafted Digital stuff would actually auto lay it out, and it did a really, really good job of it. And if I had known about that extra option, then I wouldn't be doing this. But I'm gonna go back in and fix that so that all the chapters start on the right side like they're supposed to. And then also make a couple other little changes, but it's just minuscule stuff. Nothing like content-wise. It's just primarily layout and presentation. My problem is there's a 3-month blackout window. It's really not a blackout window. It's one of those, yeah, you could do it, but we're going to charge you $25 if you do it at less or more often than once every 3 months. So yeah, I got to wait until the 1st of July because I did this at the end of March. Put it up there if I remember correctly, which means I have April, May, and June and can't do the actual changes until July, probably like July 1st. I'd have to double check the date, but I think it's July 1st. When that happens, I'll make the changes, submit them. It takes about 2 weeks for the changes to make their way out into the wild. Once they're out in the wild, then I will I'll let you guys know if you're interested. Item 3, Short Story Fridays. I've seen you guys are kind of hit and miss on the Short Story Fridays, which is interesting. I don't know if that's just the covers I'm using, the presentation, the names, what it is. Some of you guys just absolutely love, and I'm seeing that. And you're just, lots of view counts and all that stuff, and you're sharing with your friends, which for those of you who are sharing and liking and subscribing and all that stuff, I really appreciate it. I try not to pester you guys. because I know how annoying that is when others pester me, so I try not to reciprocate and do the same thing to you guys. Like, just kidding. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of intrigued at how you guys are responding to the stories. I really appreciate the ones that you guys are liking and watching a bunch. I'm getting a lot of views on them and stuff. One thing I would ask, and I've asked this before and I'll ask it again. Even if you don't like, well, I would say probably especially if you don't like a particular story, don't be afraid to put it in the comments that I don't like this story. Don't be afraid, well, okay, it's going to ruin my chances with the algo if you thumb it down, but really though, I mean, instead of like thumbing it down and saying I don't like it, if you like it, thumb it up. If there's something you especially liked, put it in the comments. Please put it in the comments. If it's something you didn't like about it, you hate the story, you hate the cover image, you hate, maybe I did something in the story that grinds your gears, tell me. I am not afraid of negative feedback. I actually enjoy that. And I mean, I've said it before that if it's malicious, keep your mouth shut. If you're just there to burn down my house, that no. And I'm saying that figuratively, thank you. But I mean, if you're there just to tear me down, don't even talk. Don't even say anything to me. But if it's something that's constructive and you want me to know about it, something you didn't like, tell me. I don't care. If you rip me 6 Ways to Tuesday about how much you hated the story or whatever, or some problem in it or whatever. I want to hear that because that's how I get better. Because something I think is just fine, but you don't. I may not know about that. I may not have never seen it. So, tell me if you, please tell me in the comments. I have no problem with that. But anyways, as I was saying though, with the Short Story Fridays, I've got a bunch of really cool short stories coming up. I think, I'm not sure when I'm going to post this because right now I'm already preloaded with short stories up until the end of this month. And then after that, I think the first one I'm jumping on is going to be my Guardian series. The Guardian series, if you don't know, is a series of 9 short stories. It's not a book, it's not a novel, it's not a novelette. It's a series of 9 short stories. And what they do is they all play together to like the first part of it, stories 1 through 5, if I remember correctly. Or it might be 1, is it 1 through 5 or 1 through 4? It's either 1 through 4 or 1 through 5. I don't remember which. But the first part of it gives you a view on what the world is like for these guys. The main character of this whole series is Paul. He's a guy that was an office worker who, when the main villain, who's known as the Emperor of Ashes, shows up and opens a portal into our world, his doing so triggers superpowers in a whole bunch of people around the world. Not everyone blooms at the same time. Some people bloomed on the first day when the initial invasion happened. But he bloomed first, and then there were others that came in later, which you see in, I think, story 4, which explains this. But there's, there were the ones that bloomed at the beginning, in other words, their powers appeared. That they call it blooming, because like you bloom like a flower, so in their case, their powers bloomed. That's explained in story 4. Story 5 is where you now start getting into the main meat of the entire thing. Because, like I said, the first 4 are intro. Yeah, that's right. The first 4 are intro, and story 5 now starts getting into more, or gets more in depth into the world, into the characters. There's Rexes and Bulls and Sky Raiders and or Sky Reapers, excuse me. Sky Reapers. There's Yeti monsters, stuff like this. It's really cool. And then it goes into kind of the final battle, which that stretches over books 6 through 10 or 6 through 8. So it's 3 stories that cover the actual final battle. And then story 9, even though all the fighting's over, story 9 is the epilogue. And it's one I'm going to tell you right off the bat. Don't skip it because there's a lot of wrap up that it does, a lot of important things that you need to know, stuff that couldn't be covered in the other stories are covered in the epilogue, and it closes out the whole 9-book series, or story series, I should say. It's not actually books, it's series, or short stories, excuse me. So let me go ahead and show you the individual covers for each of the 9 stories. Ooh, come on, you. Fine. Do it the hard way then. There we go. This is the full first one. The Bulls of Edwards Elementary. This is if you read my if you go up to my website realmsofimagination.net and look at the a writing update that goes with this, I explain why some of these images are this way. Basically, this is something that came from Midjourney. I didn't like it. I was looking for something more dramatic, but at the same time I thought, this is dealing with an elementary school. Why don't we just keep this one and do something fun with it? So you got, this is one of the enemy bulls, and this is some guy who's the superhero. This is supposed to be Paul, but again, Midjourney was screwing things up, and it was, long story short, Midjourney was starting to have enough problems that I eventually moved over to DALL-E, which I explain again in the blog post in more detail, and the reasons why and so forth. But anyways, this was a Midjourney image. Dang, that just does not want to shift. There we go. That's the second one. Now, this one was actually a good quality one that came out of Midjourney. Most of them didn't come out all that great. This one took a little work to get. So, but yeah, anyways, this is book 2, Gate and the Guardian. This is where you got, the first one's kind of real fun and exciting and, just entertaining. And I would say it's safe to consider it family friendly. So it's kind of a fun, whimsical way to get the series started. The second one gets a little bit more serious. Now Paul's in there into his meat and potatoes, dealing with Rexes and other monsters and stuff, and just, and he ends up, I won't spoil this too much, but he ends up meeting a monster that plays a major important role later on in the series, so I'll say that much. This one gets a little darker. This brings in another one of the main monsters in the series. One of them's called an Eye of Darkness, hence the title, and the second one is called a Crimson Eye. They're kind of weird monsters, kind of eye-shaped, and each one has their own unique powers and stuff. You meet them more in the actual final battle, but they're an interesting creature. Then I've got 4, Dawn of the Guardians. You meet a character called Destin, and you start getting a history of the Guardians, how they work, where they came from, stuff like that. So that's some of the backstory I was telling you about that you don't get in the earlier stories. This one, in the process of Paul working with Destin, who becomes his apprentice. Destin is Paul's apprentice, not the other way around, just in case you got confused. But you learn a bunch of things about the Guardians, how they train, so on and so forth. So that one's actually fun because that plays into the later stories. Then we have this one. Now this one actually moves into the final battle. This is the first of 3 that work with the final battle, and it deals with these 2 Rexes. One of them is unnamed. The other one, though, is eventually named Tyrone. Long story behind the name. I'll let you find out what the details are on that. But anyways, this is about two Rexes that defect to our dimension and ally themselves with the Guardians against the Dark Emperor. So then we have man. Every time I do this, I'm always like, always having to cough, phlegm, and so it's like, come on, man. Anyhow, this is story 6, Crimson Portals. This one is the actual fight. The other one was kind of like the prep. The transitions from just kind of the day-to-day grind to the start of the war, and in Crimson Portals is the first of the 3 actual fight, actual combat stories, or the main fight itself. Let's see. Yeah, this one involves a surprise attack against Paul and his team. Uh, this one, I'm sure you guys will just love this one. This one, well, the Trouble with Rexes was the last one that had Midjourney image. Crimson Portals and this one are all DALL-E. Actually, all four. The final four of them are all DALL-E. But anyways, this one is Invasion. This is where the poo hits the fan. So poo hits the fan, things get crazy. And then from there we get this one. This is the guy I was talking about. This is the Emperor of Ashes. This is a gigantic, massive, frickin' Chalutha type dude. He's like a super squid. And he is the enemy, he's the enemy leader, the Emperor of Ashes. And this dude is insane. You're so gonna love this story when it gets there. But don't miss the other stories because they build a lot of background and backstory for this. So if you don't listen to them, you're gonna miss out on a lot with this one because there's a lot of backstory in the other ones. But yeah, this right here is just insanity squared. It's awesome. You'll love it. And I'm not just saying that because I'm the guy that wrote it. I mean, if I write a story and don't think my own story is great, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to be very honest with you, or I might not even bother posting the story if I don't think it's good. So, but on that same note, like I said before, if you guys like it, let me know. If you don't like it, please let me know. I definitely want to hear from you regardless, if you like it or hate it. So, and then this one is kind of cute, and it's the epilogue. This is kind of the wrap up. This involves the two Rexes in story number 5, The Trouble with Rexes. Basically, it's kind of we wrap in that story. I wrap everything up. The two Rexes and their families get a happily ever after, and that's not like spoiling the story because, yeah, okay, they get a happily ever after. The question is how. I mean, you guys got to know that that's what's going to happen. I mean, come on, that's expected. The happily ever after. How it happens, that's a different thing. That's the part I'm not telling you, and that's the part you got to listen to find out. So, anyways, that's the short stories. Last and final item. Let me switch over here real quick for you. Okay, there we go. I just wanted to let you guys know I just updated it on the website and I put it into the writing update. This book here, number 2 out of 3 from the After Offworld series, will be releasing in July. I don't know specifically when, but it'll be releasing in July. If you haven't read the Offworld Chronicles yet, please do, because this is basically a bookend to that series. So if you haven't read that series, you're really not going to understand what's going on in this book, because just like what Homecoming was, it's a bookend to the story where Homecoming covered Simon and his team and their time, what it was like when they came back to Earth and stuff like that, which I'm not really spoiling much. If you read the story, you'll understand that I'm not really spoiling much of anything, because you kind of know they're going to, because that's the end goal of the whole series, is for them, once they've gone to Offworld, it's for them to find a way to get back home. So obviously they got back home. The series is over, they got back home. But like I say, Homecoming covers what happens to them after they get back. Weirs of Offworld covers the aftermath, or the after events, or the events after the end of the race, from the perspective of the dragons. You've got Maggie, Garlund, Fallon, and there's a new dragon in there that you will want to meet, that I think you will find so cool. Her name is Snow, and she is the sweetest, coolest little dragon you will ever run into. And she plays an important part in redeeming Fallon. I'll leave it at that. You really should read the book, but again, if you haven't read the Offworld Chronicles yet, read that, read Homecoming, and then when this comes out, read this. That being said, This one here, The Rise of Offworld, that is the third book in the series. That one covers everything from the perspective of those who are left on Offworld who aren't the dragons. That includes the wolves, the people, members of Section 17, and so forth like that. Kind of like what became of Offworld after the race was won. So, anyways, that's all I have for this update, and I went way longer than I was expecting. But anyways, you know me, talk. Anyhow, I'll leave it at that, and I'll end that here. And as usual, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, so on and so forth, please let me know. And like I said before, I'll go over here real quick. It's the top one in the in my blog for the May 2024 writing update. Just wander by, read it. Like I said, that's got details that I don't have time to talk about in here. But anyways, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to add, because I was like, I keep saying, I'm done, and I keep finding things. No, I think that's done. So I guess I will catch you guys next time. And oh, that's the other thing. I knew there was one other thing I wanted to mention. By popular demand, I was only going to do 3 chapters for each of my first books for each major series, which has included Land of the Lions, Earthfleet, and Offworld Chronicles. Due to popular demand, I decided to go ahead and continue those. Hence, if you've been watching, you'll notice that chapters 4, 5, 6, and so forth have come out on the channel, and more will come out. I'll eventually complete all of Ort Perimeter and Land of the Lions, and then I'll see where you guys want to go from there. If you want me to keep doing books like that, please let me know. Especially with your view counts. The view counts, the number of people who view the videos counts a lot towards whether or not I continue doing that. I know some of you don't like the fact that it's, I'm having to do it with AI voices, but again, no budget. I'm actually hoping to resolve that soon. I can't go into details on that, but if some things work out, I will have the money to do proper audiobooks, proper professional audiobooks, and a lot of other things that I can't do right now. That's not going to be immediate, but if everything works out, I should be able to make it happen before the end of the year. I don't know for sure, but if I can make it work out, I will switch away from these AI voices and move to actual human readers, something that's obviously more enjoyable to you guys. In the meantime, I just ask that you hang in there. Just stick with it. I will... I apologize for the AI audiobooks, but I have no budget. But as soon as I have a budget, I will make this better. And I appreciate those of you who are sticking with me through this. Anyhow, that being said, I'll go ahead and try to end this 2 hours later. No, just kidding. Anyways, that's all. Catch you guys later. Bye.